Good evening, people. Welcome back to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And as always, we're back with another massive show for you guys this evening. But before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. So on the show this evening, we're going to be talking a little bit about a shock story coming out surrounding Scott McTominay. We're also going to be talking a little bit about obviously the Champions League group. We'll be talking about Harry Maguire, Pellistri, Reguilion, a bit of stories that have come out surrounding Ten Hag apparently wanting more players at Manchester United, and a couple of other things as well. Do get involved in the comment section. Do let me know your thoughts on everything we discussed today, and let's jump straight on into it. So the first story we want to bring you, which is breaking news, this is coming out in literally the last 5 minutes, is that apparently Fulham have just contacted Manchester United about the signing of Scott McTominay. Now, as you guys probably already know, Paulinho looks like he will be going to Bayern Munich. Obviously, they've lost Ruben Neves. They've just lost... sorry, they haven't lost Ruben Neves. They've just lost Paulinho. They've lost Paul Nibia. He looks like he will be going to Bayern Munich, and obviously they're going to need a replacement. Scott McTominay is apparently on this list of players, and this is coming out from, of course, Sky Sports in the UK, saying that Fulham are now interested in McTominay, obviously because Paulinho looks like he will be going. Now, I think this will be a good move for Scott. I do. I think it will be a great move for Scott. Is there enough time for Manchester United to get a replacement? Who would you like to see as the replacement? Let me know in the comment section who would be a good replacement for Scott McTominay. There are quite a few people I can think of, really, really quickly. Obviously, Amrabat comes in, great. I think you could go and do a loan move for somebody. I think maybe, obviously, Gravenberch looks like he's going to go to Liverpool. But what's to say we don't go and hijack the Gravenberch deal? If Liverpool have loosely agreed a fee of around 30 million euros, why can't Manchester United now go in and knock on the door for Gravenberch, knowing that Bayern have already agreed a fee for around 30 million euros. I would go and get this deal done. The issue here is, right, Manchester United just can't seem to get deals done quickly. They seem incapable of selling anybody in less than 24 hours. We've been still doing the medical and the tests and the contracts for Altay Bayindir since last Friday. He's been in the UK for nearly a week, and he's still not been announced as a Manchester United player. He's still apparently doing his contracts. He's still doing God knows what at Carrington. I mean, if they can't sign a backup goalkeeper in a week, then how are we expecting to sell Scott McTominay and buy a replacement within 24 hours? It's probably unlikely, isn't it? But it is interesting that this story's come out. And you know what? A more competent club would be able to get this deal done in the next 24 hours and bring in an adequate replacement. But obviously, we are Manchester United. So the story is as follows. Fulham have now made initial contact with Manchester United over the signing of Scott McTominay. It would take a substantial offer for United to consider losing Scott McTominay. This is coming out from Darmish Chef, obviously Sky Sports, this is literally in the last 30 seconds. They also say that Fulham are now looking at options. If João Paulinho leaves, it would take a substantial offer for Manchester United to consider. Now, how much do you think would be a fair price to let Scott McTominay go? I think somewhere around, it would have to be £40 million now. Obviously, we rejected a bid of £30 million earlier on in the window. I think it would have to take I think it would have to take £40 million. It would. Anything less than that, I don't think would be good enough for Manchester United. You'd need to go and get a replacement immediately. The only people I can really think of in the current market is someone like Gravenberch. That's the only person. Obviously, arguably, you could say you sell Scott McTominay and then you buy Amrabat and you don't loan Amrabat. Maybe you do that. But I still think we're going to leave ourselves a little bit short in the midfield area. I think we need two midfielders. I don't think you can get rid of Scott McTominay and then only buy one midfielder. There is maybe a slight plot twist to this. What if Donny van der Beek was to stay? You let Scott McTominay go and you bring in Amrabat. Would that be enough? Maybe it would. I think it maybe would be till January, I think. I would let Scott McTominay go. I would. I don't really rate him. I never really have. I get he's come from the youth academy. Obviously, that's great. It's amazing that Manchester United, bring through players from the youth academy. But he's never really impressed me. He's 26 years of age. He's supposedly in his prime right now. And he doesn't even play. He just sits on the bench. I don't see the point in keeping him. And I think even for his career, I think it's better for him to move on. I think it's better for him to go to a new club, to a new challenge. And you know what? Fulham are not a bad team. Fulham are a decent team. They are. They gave us some really, really good games last year, didn't they, Fulham? And I think he would do really well there. So hopefully this one materialises. We will, of course, keep you updated as and when we get more news on this story. But for the time being, please do let me know in the comment section how much you think would be a fair price to ask Fulham for Scott McTominay. I don't think Manchester United would accept anything less than 40. I genuinely don't. Not at this stage of the window. Obviously, 30 million was rejected a couple of weeks ago. It's going to have to take a substantial bid, as Sky Sports have reported. And for me, a substantial bid is 40 million plus. Anything less than that, I just think they'd laugh them off the pitch. Obviously, Paulinho, I think the fee that's being reported for him to go to Bayern is somewhere around 60 million. So, yeah, so apparently Bayern Munich have just offered 50 million pounds for Paulinho. So, I mean, if they got rid of Paulinho, he's 28 years of age, then they go and reinvest that money in Scott McTominay. I would be asking for the full 50 personally. I'd say, well, you're getting 50 million for Paulinho. We know you've got 50 million. We want 50 million. Why not? Give it a try. Like, what's the worst that can happen? But let me know what your thoughts are on that one. Let me know about the Scott McTominay one. Obviously, it is just come out in the last couple of minutes. That was breaking news. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know who you would sign as the replacement. Would it be Gravenberch? Would you just get Amrabat? Would you wait for Kobe Mainoo to come back? What would be your plan? Let me know your thoughts. Obviously, there is the possibility that you could go and invest that money in a centre-back instead. Maybe you sell Scott McTominay and you go and buy Jean-Claire Todibo. Apparently, all of the work has been done for Jean-Claire Todibo behind the scenes. So we probably could get that deal over the line quickly and then do a loan deal for Amrabat. There are options out there. There still is 24 hours left of the window. A competent club would accept this offer and get on with it, but this is Manchester United. Let me know your thoughts. Right, let's talk about the Champions League group really quickly then. So obviously anybody who has been living under a rock, we can confirm that Manchester United's group for the Champions League is as follows. Bayern Munich, Manchester United, Copenhagen and Galatasaray. Overall, I don't think it's the most difficult group, but it's not the easiest. Like obviously Newcastle's group, they've got they've got Dortmund, PSG. Newcastle have got the group of hell. Our group is still difficult. Like Bayern Munich is going to be a difficult test. Copenhagen, I don't really know much about, other than apparently Højlund's brothers play for Copenhagen. So that'll be interesting. Rasmus Højlund's got two brothers and both of them play over in Copenhagen. Galatasaray, I think we'd beat Galatasaray at home. Maybe it'll be a difficult result away from home. Maybe we could get a draw. So if I'm looking at those results, right, I would expect us to probably lose against Bayern away from home. And I think we could beat them at home. So that's 3 points. I would say we should be beating Copenhagen home and away, so that's 6 points. I would say beat Galatasaray at home and then maybe draw with them away. So we should be getting, I would say like maybe 13 points out of a possible, how many points can you get out of a possible 18? I think 13 points. I think we should still be finished second in that group, but let me know what your thoughts are. I don't think it's the worst group. Obviously, when we got drawn with Bayern immediately, I was like, oh my God, here we go. This is going to be terrible. But Copenhagen and Galatasaray, like when you see some of the other teams that were in those pools, we could have got a lot worse. So someone says we've got the group of hell. I don't think we've got the group of hell, mate. If you look at Newcastle's group, Newcastle have the group of hell. Like you can't compare our group with Newcastle, can you? Newcastle have literally got one of the most difficult groups I've ever seen, ever. Literally. Like ours is not the group of hell, I don't think. But obviously, if you think that, that's completely up to you. Newcastle have got AC Milan, Dortmund, and Paris Saint-Germain. Like that is a difficult group. Manchester City have got the easy group again. They've got Young Boys, Red Star Belgrade, and Leipzig. Easy for them. Arsenal, Sevilla, PSV, and Lens. I'd expect Arsenal to top that group. I think our group's not too bad. I honestly don't. Somebody says, how about swapping Scott McTominay for Paulinho? I mean, I would do that any day of the week. If we could swap McTominay for Paulinho, that would be an unbelievable bit of business. Maybe. Who knows? But it does look like he's going to Bayern Munich, so I don't think that will happen. I think he is on the way to Bayern. So, but yeah, Galatasaray away, I think is going to be difficult. I think the best result we'd get there is probably a draw. Bayern away from home, I reckon we'd probably lose. I would expect us to beat Copenhagen home and away. I'd expect us to beat Galatasaray at home. And Bayern Munich, I would expect us to either win or draw at home, I think. Because we haven't lost a game at Old Trafford for 30 matches. So I think we're going to keep up our home record this season. So I'm feeling confident in that sense. But it's just our away form. We're not going to go to Munich and beat Bayern Munich, are we, realistically? And you know what the mentality of these players are like. We'll go away to Galatasaray. The atmosphere in Turkey is going to be absolutely crazy. It'll probably be like nothing some of these players have ever seen, and they'll probably will get scared and we'll probably lose. That's probably the reality of it. But overall, I'm relatively happy with it. Now let's move over, but let me know in the comments section how you're feeling about the group. Are you excited about it? Are you worried? Let me know what your thoughts are. Let's move over to the left back situation then, because obviously this is one that is causing quite a bit of debate amongst the fan base. Now, obviously it looked like we were going to sign Marc Cucurella from Chelsea. That deal has now apparently fallen through. Now, The reason for this deal falling through, and when I explain this to you, I think you'll agree that it was the right decision. Apparently, Manchester United are only looking for a short-term loan until January. Chelsea were not willing to agree to that. They wanted him to go on loan for the whole season. His wages were 175 grand a week, and they wanted around £5 million as a loan fee. So it would have cost Manchester United around £15 million to loan Marc Cucurella for one season. When you think as soon as Luke Shaw comes back, Marc Cucurella will be out of the team and Luke Shaw would come in. So I do kind of get it. I know Reguilion is not as good as Marc Cucurella. I get that. I 100% agree with you. But the finance side of it, the fact that Manchester United could do a shorter contract for Reguilion, a 6-month deal, I think it makes a lot of sense. He's only on £2.5 million a year. So worst case scenario, right? We pay Tottenham 100% of his wages, £2.5 million, and we get a player to hold us through till January, whereas Cucurella was going to cost us 15 million. Now, the story gets a little bit more interesting. James Ducker from The Telegraph is saying that Manchester United switched targets from Marc Cucurella to Reguilion, partly because it now leaves more money to try and do a loan deal for Sofian Amrabat. So the story that we're being fed is that ultimately, if we got Cucurella, we would have not been able to get Amrabat, which I don't really understand. Like, why do you need money to do a loan deal? Unless we were going to pay them some money up front. Like, obviously we don't know until this, the formalities come out, but it seems a little bit strange for, Manchester United to be briefing the press in the UK saying that, oh, we're not getting Cucurella because we're trying to save money to do a loan deal for Amrabat. Like, is that how skint we are, that we're having to save money from one potential loan to move over to another potential loan? Like, it doesn't really make sense to me personally, but let me know what your thoughts are on that one, everybody. Let me know, whether you're happy about Reguilion. I assume most of you are kind of annoyed. I get it. He's not the player that everybody wanted. A lot of you were excited about Marc Cucurella. Obviously, he could play left back. He could play left-sided centre-back. And that would have given us lots of options going into the season. And I get it. People are frustrated. People are annoyed. People really wanted Marc Cucurella. But it is what it is. There's not too much we can do about it now. Sky Sports are reporting the following. It's thought a deal for Reguilion and the numbers involved gives Manchester United the best chance to strike a deal with Fiorentina for Sofian Amrabat. So it's all coming down to money. It's not coming down to quality of player. They're not saying that Ten Hag really likes Reguilion. He thinks he's the right person. This is who we need. They're saying that we want to save some money. We're going to tell the press that if we go and get Reguilion, then that means we can get Amrabat on loan, and hopefully that silenced the fans. That's what they're trying to do here. Obviously, we're not stupid. Obviously, we can see through their lies and their tricks. And I'm glad everybody is in the same boat as me, because I'm sure every single one of you watching this is reading it thinking, this is just the Glazers trying to save money. There is no way on earth that they genuinely think he's better than Marc Cucurella. No way. Hopefully he comes in and does well. He was on loan in Atletico last season. He only played 12 matches for Atletico last season. And that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? He's somebody who wasn't wanted at Tottenham and was loaned out. He went to Atletico Madrid on loan and he only played 12 matches, and now he's coming to Manchester United. So all we've got to do is hope that he comes in and does well. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens, won't we, everybody? But let me know what your thoughts are about Reguilion in the comments section below. Obviously, I hope he comes in and does well. He is apparently going to be doing his medical shortly. So yeah, David Ornstein says, apparently the decision to sign Reguilion over Marc Cucurella was made for footballing and financial reasons. I mean, that's got to be a bit of a white lie. There is no way on earth they chose Reguilion for footballing reasons. Let's be honest here. He's not very good defensively. I don't think he's a very good left back personally. It goes on to say, with the hope being that Reguilion can be joined by Sofian Amrabat before Friday's deadline. So they've really tried to soften the blow here, right? All of the journalists that are putting out this story this afternoon are throwing into the mix that Amrabat will be coming. They're doing this because they want Amrabat. They're doing this to ensure that the Amrabat deal can happen. That's all we're hearing here, and it's just rubbish, isn't it? Just a quick one. We've got 1,700 people watching, which is absolutely amazing. Big ups to everybody. Please do smash a like on the video, and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. Yeah, thank you so much to everybody who's watching the show this evening. Right, let's crack on with the rest of the show. Right, let's talk a little bit about Pellistri. Now, this is somebody who I really, really like, somebody who I think definitely needs to stay at Manchester United. And Laurie Whitwell is reporting in the last half an hour that Pellistri is set to stay at Manchester United after talks with Erik ten Hag. And you know what? That is such good news. It really, really is. I think Pellistri is a quality player. I think he deserves game time. I think he deserves a chance in the Manchester United squad. And I'm so happy that he's staying and not going out on loan. It did look like he was going to be loaned to the Eredivisie, which I thought would have just been a complete waste. I said this to you probably about a month ago. If he goes to the Eredivisie, it makes no sense for me. It's not a competitive league, really, is it? And it's not comparable to the Premier League. It's not as physical. It's not the same kind of style of play. So I am really, really happy that he is staying, and it does give us way more options. There was somebody in the chat earlier saying like, oh, you know, I think it could be interesting to try him as a false nine. I mean, you never know, do you? He's still very, very young. He does have a lot of qualities which you could see him doing well as a false nine. So yeah, that's really positive news for me. Let me know in the comment section if you think this is the right decision. Are you happy that Pellistri's staying? Do you think he should have been loaned out? Let me know what your thoughts are. For me, it's a big positive. I'm really happy about that. Just a quick one as well on another positive about somebody staying. Apparently, Hannibal Mejbri is also going to be staying at Manchester United. He's not going to be loaned out this summer. Samuel Luckhurst is reporting that Hannibal has been promised an important role if he stays. He currently has a better chance of staying at this stage, but the situation could change by tomorrow. So it looks like he will be staying, Hannibal, which again, I think is the right decision. We're really, really weak in our midfield options, and Hannibal is one of those people who I do think could break through into the first team in the next couple of years. We have seen glimpses of him in the preseason, and I think he looks like a quality player. He shows that grit and determination. He shows that hunger, which I think some of the Manchester United players have forgotten about, and we need players like that. We need people who every single time they come onto the pitch, they give 110%. And I think that Pellistri and Hannibal still have that drive to them. They haven't been given the ridiculous contracts yet. They haven't been treated as superstars. They're still on the edge of the squad. And those are the kind of people we need in and around the squad to kind of push out the people on the ridiculous wages who maybe sometimes go missing in games and all the rest of it. We're not going to single out names here, but you get the general idea. We've got plenty of players in our team who are on 200 grand plus a week and disappear in the big matches, or, you know, for a couple of games look like they're not interested. And you don't get that from youth players. They give 110%. So I'm happy that it looks like Hannibal's going to be staying. Yeah. But let me know what your thoughts are on Hannibal. Are you happy he's staying, or do you think he should leave? Now, just a quick one. I don't want to over egg the pudding on this one, but anybody who's missed it, apparently Harry Maguire has been called up for the England squad. I mean, what does everybody think about that? I think it's a joke, personally. I really, really do. And you wonder why Harry Maguire won't leave Manchester United. Like, he won't leave Manchester United because he gets picked time and time again for England. And it makes no sense. He hasn't played any games this season. He's clearly not going to play any games this season, but yet he still gets picked for England. Now, obviously, I am English. I watched the England games, and to be fair, he's never put a foot wrong for England at the national team level. So fair play to him on that front, but I just don't see how Gareth Southgate can continue to justify it. I think last year was an exception, fine. He was out of the squad, give him a chance. But this season, he's clearly not going to be part of the squad. Sorry, not the squad. Obviously, he's part of the squad. He's clearly not going to be part of the first team, is he? So yeah, for me, it doesn't make any sense. But let me know what your thoughts are on Harry Maguire going to the England squad. Garnacho has been called up for Argentina, though, and Lisandro Martinez has, which is really positive. So big ups to those two. Rasmus Højlund's obviously been called up for Denmark. Rashford for England. So yeah, lots and lots of positives amongst all of that. But I'm just still a bit confused about Maguire. He'll probably start the games. He'll probably start for England. It'll probably be all he'll play this season. Big ups to Jimmy, who has just gifted a membership. Thank you so much for the supporting the channel, my friend. And whoever got the membership, please do say thank you to Jimmy in the chat. Morning says, Kieran, Southgate said on TalkSport that club form matters for him, and he picked Maguire and Phillips, who haven't played. Yeah, it's just a load of rubbish, isn't it? It is absolute rubbish. Yeah, like, this isn't an England channel, but Southgate isn't a very good manager, I don't think. I don't rate Southgate at all. Like, we've got one of the best squads in world football in England, and we haven't won anything with him. So I don't really have a lot of respect for him as a manager. Obviously, I hope he does well at the Euros and all the rest of it. But when you continue to pick people like Maguire, like, it doesn't really paint a good picture if you does it, personally. But yeah, obviously this isn't an England channel, so I won't focus too much on that. Right, let's move on to the next story, though. Where are we? Right, let's talk a bit about Sofyan Amrabat quickly. So there's a story coming out from James Ducker in the Telegraph saying that Fiorentina are willing to loan Sofyan Amrabat to Manchester United, but insist any deal includes an obligation to buy the midfielder at the end of the season. He also says that Sofyan Amrabat has been aware of Manchester United's interest for much of the summer and has rebuffed interest from other clubs as he holds out for a move to Manchester United. Now, the interesting thing that this journalist has said this afternoon is that apparently they would be willing to accept somewhere around 22 to 26 million pounds as the obligation to buy fee, which I think is fair. I think that's a fair price for him. So it would be Manchester United get him on loan for 1 season, and then next year we get him for free. Well, let's just wait and see what happens with this one now. I think we will get him, but we're getting so close to the end of the transfer window. We need a here we go tonight or tomorrow morning if we're going to get him over to the UK from Italy, get him to do his medical. If it's taken them nearly a week to do the medical for Altay Bayindir, how long is it going to take them to do the medical for Sofian Amrabat? Are we still going to be talking about this next month? Like, yeah. Hopefully they're bringing in extra staff to get this medical over the line, because otherwise maybe he will never sign. Who knows? We've got a bit of a quick update on Donny van de Beek as well. Sky Sports have just reported that Lorient remain in talks with Manchester United over the signing of midfielder Donny van de Beek. A number of other clubs are interested in his signature as well. So apparently Galatasaray are another club who have expressed interest in the last couple of minutes or hours. Now, as I said to you earlier on in the video, if Scott McTominay was to leave, I would just keep Donny van de Beek. I would see no reason to loan him out, because you bring in Amrabat and then you keep Donny van de Beek. I don't think losing Scott McTominay is a big miss then. Obviously, Kobe Mainoo will be back soon. Mason Mount will be back soon. And there are plenty of other options that we could look at in those positions. So for me, I would just let him go personally and keep Donny van de Beek if that was an option. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. If Manchester United are so short on money, they should really capitalise on this interest from Fulham for Scott McTominay. Kevin says, do the medicals have to be finalised by 11 p.m. tomorrow? You know what, Kevin? I'm not 100% on that. I think that the deal has to be signed by 11 p.m. tomorrow, subject to medical clearance. So I think they have to agree the deal before 11. You know, so it'll be like a subject to contract type deal. So they'll sign it, they'll agree the fee and all the rest of it, and then it will allow them to do the medical. That's my understanding of it, but I'm not 100%. Because if it is, we're not going to sign anybody. Manchester United take about a week to do a medical. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But my understanding is it just has to be signed before the 11 o'clock deadline. If anybody else knows in the chat, do let me know if you do know the answer to that. But I'm 90% sure that it just has to be signed before 11. But obviously, yeah, don't take my word for it. Right, I'm going to read out a couple of questions quickly. Tomsy says, can you wish me a happy birthday? I'm your biggest fan. Happy birthday, mate. I hope you are doing well. What else we got? Somebody says, Reguilion, when did he last play? Mate, I don't know. He played 12 games for Atletico Madrid last season, which is really not very good, is it? It's not great, but it is what it is. We've just got to get on with it. We've got to try and stay positive. There's no point getting worked up about it because there's nothing we can do now. We're getting Reguilion. We're being told that we're getting him because that means we can get Amrabat. So we just have to get on with it. Right, let's move on with the rest of the show, though. So we have a bit of an update about Marc Girardeau, who is, of course, one of the players who is in the youth academy. He looks like he will be leaving Manchester United. Now, he was somebody that I know a lot of people were really, really hopeful to break into the team in the next couple of years. 19 years of age, right back. It looks like he will be leaving on a permanent deal to a Spanish club. It hasn't been confirmed what club yet. Obviously, he came through the Barcelona Youth Academy and we brought him in about 3 years ago as someone that we did expect to be a first-team player in the next kind of 3 to 5 years. It hasn't worked out. It looks like he will be leaving, and obviously I wish him all the best. It looks like it will be a permanent move. I did say this on the show last night that there does seem to be a bit of a strange pattern at the moment of letting go a lot of youth players, and I hope that there is something going on. I hope that there is some sort of plan behind all of this, because it does seem all a little bit confusing at the moment. But obviously I trust Erik ten Hag, and if he thinks these people aren't good enough, then yeah, that is what it is. James Ducker has just reported now as well quickly that apparently Sergio Reguilion is due to have his medical and complete his move to Manchester United ahead of the Friday transfer deadline. So it looks like this deal will happen. It looks like the medical's been booked. Yeah, so there's no turning back now. Reguilion is coming to Manchester United. We're not going to get Tagliafico. We're not going to get Cucurella. And yeah, it looks like he will be coming. So it is what it is, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, he's just reported this in the last 13 minutes. The Manchester United are set to sign Sergio Reguilion from Tottenham on medical after a medical has been completed. Yeah, I hope it is just until January. I think if it's until January, then you can't really complain about it. But we'll have to wait and see what happens, won't we? I will read out a couple of your questions as well in a minute. So if you do have some questions, chuck them in the live chat and I will read them out. Just put the letter Q in front of your message and I will read them out. And if everybody who is watching can please smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well, that would be really, really appreciated. We're less than 100 away from 17k subscribers now, guys. So please do subscribe. We only started this channel about 12 weeks ago. So to have hit 17k subscribers in 12 weeks is honestly absolutely incredible. So big ups to every single one of you. I really, really do appreciate it. Mark says we're scrambling for a loan signee. Peter says Mark Goldbridge, people copying his channel with the shelf. I'm not sure what you mean there, Peter, mate. I don't know what you mean, mate. I have to write it again. Yeah, get your questions in the live chat and I will read some out before we end the show. So if you do have something you want to ask, put the letter Q in front of your message and I will have a look in a couple of minutes' time. I'm just seeing if there's anything else coming in about this McTominay story, because I know this is one that a lot of you are going to be really, really interested in and one that we want to follow closely over the next 24 hours. At the moment, it's just a story from Sky Sports, so I will, of course, keep you updated as and when more bits of information come out around the McTominay deal. I don't know. I'm still not sure whether... I just can't imagine Manchester United doing it. I just don't think we have the time. But let me know what you think. Right, let's have a look if there's any questions come in. And big ups to all the new subscribers as well. Somebody says, I just subscribed this morning. Well, thank you very much for subscribing. I really, really do appreciate it. What have we got? Hendrik says, Manchester United need to make a deal. We are going to sign some players. We are. Like, I know it's not the players that all of you want, but we are going to sign Reguilion, and I reckon we will sign Amrabat. So... it is what it is, isn't it? It's more of the outgoings that has been a problem this summer. You know, the fact that Maguire's still here, the fact that Eric Bailly's still here, the fact that we're still talking about Donny van der Beek, etc., etc. You know, obviously McTominay's still here. He might end up going, but I would definitely doubt it. Now, I would 100% go and get Jean-Claire Todibo before the end of this window, because this is if we get some money in, all right? So if Scott McTominay does go for £40+ million, I would go and get Jean-Claire Todibo, because you know what? I've been having nightmares about what will happen if Martinez and Lindelof get injured. Varane's obviously out. Luke Shaw's out. Those are our two kind of other options at centre-back. If those two get injured, we're going to have Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans. That's the stuff of nightmares. It is. It's the stuff of nightmares. Irvin says, Kieran, do you remember what happened with David De Gea on deadline day? For fax machine broke down, it has to be signed, the transfer document. Okay, so yeah, there you go. They don't have much time, do they? They don't. George says, you were a breath of fresh air compared to some channels, looking at the negative all the time. Keep up the good work. Well, yeah, honestly, big ups to everybody who's been supporting the channel. I really, really do appreciate it. I'm not here to compare myself to other channels, because I know how difficult it is to do this, how difficult it is to sit in front of the camera. Honestly, believe me, it took me, I made this channel, right? I created the URL 2 years ago. And it took me pretty much 2 years it took me to have the confidence to actually start making videos. So big ups to anybody who's a content creator out there, because it is really difficult. Like, to put yourself in front of people on the internet, to put yourself up for criticism, you know, like it is very, very difficult. So I'm not going to compare myself to other channels, but honestly, thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. Grace says, can we not get a striker on loan before the deadline day? Well, this is something I wanted to talk to you guys about really, really quickly. Now, there was a story coming out last night saying that apparently Manchester United are looking to sign an attacking player on loan before the end of the transfer window, because as you all know, Erik ten Hag was expecting to bring in Mason Greenwood back into the squad. Obviously, that hasn't happened. Let's not dwell on that anymore, because I think we've talked about that too many times. But the story was that apparently they were looking for another attacker to come in on loan. I think that makes sense. I think we desperately need an attacker. I think we really, really, really need an attacker. You know, I don't think it's even like... It's essential. It's essential that we bring in someone in the attacking positions. Now, who that could be, I honestly do not know at this point. We're so close to the end of the window. Manchester United have done crazy things in the past. I remember us signing Mata on deadline day. Obviously, we signed Cristiano Ronaldo very close to deadline day. Like, we can do something, and I wouldn't be surprised if something doesn't happen tomorrow. But yeah, whether it will or not is obviously in Manchester United's hands. It's not up to me. It's not up to you. All we can sit here as fans and hope and pray that they do something, because if we lose any of those forward free players, if we lose Rashford, if we lose even Højlund again, we're screwed. We are. We don't have any backups, but yeah. Right, let's read out a couple more questions. Mark says, aren't we in for Marcus Leonardo? Now, Marcus Leonardo is an interesting name that we have been linked to for a couple of months. You know what? I'm going to be completely honest with you now. I think that this interest has come from the agent side of things. He's trying to force a move. He apparently was not playing football. He was depressed. His father was coming out saying that, you know, Santos promised him that he could leave and they've not stuck to his promise. And it was one of those ones where it does very, very much feel like the Manchester United links was very much coming from the player and his agent side versus from the Manchester United side. So he is somebody that after I watched some videos and did a bit of scouting on him, I thought Marcus Leonardo would have been a great signing. But we're sat here 24 hours before the window and we haven't signed him. So yeah, I don't think we'll get Marcus Leonardo personally. I think he's probably going to go to Roma. I think West Ham are interested in as well. There's a couple of other clubs who are really pursuing the Marcus Leonardo deal. Andrew says, big up to a fellow Bristolian. Big up to all the Bristolians. If anybody doesn't know what a Bristolian is, it's people from Bristol in the UK. That's where I'm from. Yeah, Tom says the Brazilian transfer window is closed. Well, there you go then. Irvin says, Kieran, how do we expect us to sign 2 new players when we have signed 3 players total in 3 months? I'll be happy if we get Amrabat. Mate, that's what I just said. Yeah, exactly. Like, the poor Fenerbahce goalkeeper has been stuck at Carrington since last Friday. He's still there, right? He's still there doing his medical. He hasn't signed the paperwork I saw earlier. Like, you know. Right. Somebody says, can you be my agent, mate? You spoke for 5 minutes on how rubbish McTominay was and then go on to say we should ask for at least £40 million. Mate, I'm not actually in the position to offer myself as an agent at the moment, but thank you for your question. Luke says, how come Manchester United are going for loan deals? Do you think there's something happening in the background with the club getting sold as the owners haven't spent much to say? It's, yeah, mate, I 100% do. I 100% think there's something going on behind the scenes. Now, this is just my opinion, so don't get really excited. Don't, run off and tell all your friends that the Glazers have sold the club, because that is something I will never do on this channel, all right? Just to be very clear. I will not make out that I get more information that's not available in the public domain, okay? Everything that we discuss on this show is available on the internet for you to find yourself. So I'm not by any means saying that the Glazers have told me that they're going to leave the club, but just watching it as a football fan, as a Manchester United fan, the transfer window feels weird. We haven't signed anybody for a month. We're letting go of a lot of people. We're letting go of a lot of youth players. There's a lot of question marks around our transfer activity, and it does make me think that something is going on behind the scenes and that the Glazers are going to leave. I still think they will leave. Obviously, that's just my opinion. That's what I think in my heart and in my head, but let's just see what happens. Stefan says, will you read fans' chats or super chats? If you put in a question, I'll read it. You've just got to put the letter Q before your message. I'm not going to read out every single comment, otherwise we'll be here all night. So if you have a question you want to ask, like the other people are doing in the chat, put the letter Q in front of your message and I will read it out. Caesar says, what motivated you to start the channel, bro? How will you differ from the rest? Well, I mean, that's a good question. Thank you for that. So I'm just obsessed with football, as you can probably tell. I'm obsessed with Manchester United. I've always wanted to do something like this, but I've just never had the confidence. Hence, I came up with the name and the idea 2 years ago. And as I said, only 12 weeks ago, I uploaded the first video because I wouldn't say I was nervous. I was just, I guess nervous. Yeah, I wasn't confident in front of a camera. And there is actually some videos that I recorded from 2 years ago, which I will share with everyone at some point, okay? I will share these videos later on. I don't know when, but at some point I'll share them and you'll see how nervous I was when I first started recording videos. I never uploaded them anywhere, but I did record them. But yeah, it's just my love of football. I love football. I love Manchester United, and yeah, I didn't expect it to get where it is today already. To be completely honest with you, like I genuinely didn't. To have 17,000 subscribers in 12 weeks is beyond what I ever expected for this channel in its whole lifetime. So big ups to every single one of you who supports the channel. I really, really do appreciate you. I love speaking to you every single day. I love making this content, and I love, Fred says, what's going to be your celebrations when the Glazers go? Well, I did make a promise, right? I think it was on the first or the second week of doing this channel. I said, when the Glazers leave, I'll be buying a Manchester United shirt for myself. I haven't bought one since I was a child, and I think my uncle bought me that. I'll be buying a shirt for myself, and I will also buy a shirt for somebody in the chat. So there you go, guys. That's how I will be celebrating the Glazers leaving. I'll be buying my first shirt in about 18 years. So I don't know what else I'll do. I'm not sure. Andrew says, aren't you only allowed to sign 2 players in a window? So in relation to the loans, you're allowed 2 people from one league. So Manchester United could sign 2 players from the Premier League, 2 players from the Spanish League, etc. So that's how it works. What else we got? Samir says, Amrabat will play African Cup of Nations in January. Will certainly be off for a month. Plus, will fast for Ramadan in March. These are the main reasons why Manchester United want him cheap. What's your view? I don't know if you could want somebody cheap because of those reasons, because I think that's a little bit, not unfair, but it's a little bit, yeah, I don't know. But obviously it is a concern. Yeah, I agree it's a concern. He's going to be gone for a month in January, but so's Onana, and then obviously Ramadan as well. But the footballers usually do still play football when Ramadan's on, so we're not going to lose him. I remember Pogba, Salah, they always break their fast, don't they, like mid-game. So, yeah. It is what it is, isn't it? Amrabat is the player we're going for. We can worry about other things further down the line. Obviously, we are aware of that. We know that he plays for Morocco. We know that that's a country in Africa. We know that they'll be in the Africa Cup of Nations. It is what it is, isn't it? Ladi says, whatever happened to Tchouaméni and somebody from Madrid? Is there a possibility of a loan there? We're not going to get Tchouaméni, I don't think, mate. There was stories linking him to us earlier on in the window. But yeah, it's not going to happen. We're not going to get Tchouaméni. As much as I would love to see him at Manchester United, I think the likelihood of that is probably 0 now. He starts for Real Madrid now. I think those stories were coming around because he wasn't playing as much last season, but he's been starting every single game, and he's a quality player. Paul says, in the future, will you consider having other presenters, maybe let's say from South Africa or anywhere in the world? Yes, we are going to start doing that in the future. We will start having more fan forum-led content where we get other people on the show, so it won't just be me. At the beginning of the channel, I just wanted to kind of focus it around me and you and build a relationship together, opposed to there being like lots of different people and you not really feeling any attachment to the channel. So for the first 12 weeks, it's literally just been me speaking to you and us having a conversation. But yeah, in the future, we will get other people on the channel. If you do want to get involved in the channel, if you do think that you'd be up for doing some fan forums type things, there is an email address on our YouTube homepage. So if you go and have a look, yeah, obviously feel free to get in contact. You're more than welcome to do that. And when we are in a position to start doing more fan forum led videos, I will, yeah, we can have a conversation. I'll put the email address in the chat for anybody who is interested. I've just dropped it in there. So if you do want to get involved in fan forums in the future, the email address is in there. And thank you for the question. Darren says, came across your channel today, quite refreshing watching somebody who isn't just moaning. Again, I'm not going to slag off other channels, but honestly, thank you so much for watching, and big ups to every single one of you. But yeah, that's not something I'm going to do on this channel. I'm not going to be slagging off other channels. Like, I don't see the point in that. The thing that you should remember, right, and this is something that I've always done in every aspect of life up to this point, is community. Now, whether that's with your audience, you, or whether that's with your peers, as in other channels, whatever workplace it's in, you should work together. You should be a community. You should be united, and you should, not be slagging each other off, because that doesn't get you anywhere. So that's just something I've always done in life. So I'm not going to be slagging off other channels because somebody said something or whatever. I'm just simply not going to do that. So if you're here for drama, then go and watch Emmerdale or Hollyoaks or something like that, because you're not going to get it from me. I'll read out a couple more questions before we end the video. Elwin says, are we still going for Jean-Claire Todibo? To be honest, mate, unless a player like McTominay goes, we're not going to do any big signings. So it all depends on McTominay. If this West Ham deal, materializes into something bigger, then yeah, I could see us going for Jean-Claire Todibo. I could see us doing some business in the last kind of 24 hours of the window. But at this moment, to be completely honest with you, I'm not going to beat around the bush, as they say. We're going to sign Amrabat and Reguilion. That's what's going to happen, I think. I don't think we'll do anything more than that. Maybe I'll be sat here tomorrow and we'll have just signed a shock player. Maybe we'll have signed João Felix on loan. Something like that could happen. But at this point, I think we just got to be, realistic. Badge Underground says, how far do you think Manchester United are going to go in the Champions League? Shout out from the Barbados. I would say, I reckon we'll get to the last 8. I think that would be a good achievement. Yeah, that would be a good achievement. Leon says, dude, yourself and Mick Ruby are the best of the United channels. Well done. Well, honestly, guys, thank you so much. I think everybody on YouTube offers a different thing. That's the thing that you've got to remember. Like, people are different. Just because we're talking about the same club doesn't mean we're the same person. Doesn't mean we're going to deliver content in the same way. So there's more than enough room for everybody to to have a community and have an audience to speak to. So that's my stance on it. Henrik says, what are the realistic striker loan options that are available? I mean, the only one I can think of is Felix. Maybe Taremi could be available on loan. Maybe you could get Gift Orban on a loan with an obligation to buy. There's a couple of players out there. But yeah, I don't really know. Everything Carby says, do you think Reguilion is on Ten Hag's list at the start of the season? Mate, 100% not. There is no way on earth that Reguilion was on Eric Ten Hag's list. This is an emergency loan. Remember that. It's not a Ten Hag signing. It's an emergency loan. It's literally this or nothing, and we've decided to go with that. Everything Carpy says, what about this backup goalkeeper? Mate, the backup goalkeeper is still doing his medical. He's still doing his medical. He has been at Carrington since last Friday. Apparently, he's still signing contracts, still doing paperwork, and will be announced in well, I mean, he's got to be announced in the next 24 hours, otherwise the window will close. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you so much to everybody who has joined us tonight. We've had so many new people in the chat today, which is obviously really refreshing. So big ups to every single one of you. Please do make sure to smash a like on the video and subscribe on your way out. We will be back live at 8 a.m. UK time tomorrow for your usual morning show. If anything breaks between then and now, we do go live. So if we get any more news about the McTominay deal, if we get any news about Amrabat, we will be live. So make sure you hit the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been Daily Red Devil. I've been Kieran, and I'll catch you guys.